Hello, hello everyone. It's Becky and today is Friday, May 30th, not the 31st yet. Still on the 30th. Let's see what we're going to do. Shake it up like that's going to make a difference. All right. Let's get in the middle. Let's see here. I got my garden started yesterday. Okay. We have, what do we have? What do we have? Signpost and a vine. I think one's a stencil, one is a die cut. But how can we combine the two is the question now. Okay. I think we're on orange. A light blue. What is up in that light? Hang on a second. What is this? It was the tape coming off of it. But the light blue yesterday. I've got like a 3-way bulb and one of them blue. So I gotta buy some more. Okay. My desk is a mess. I have die cuts everywhere. Been working on the altered trading cards. So I just got a mess going on. But I can definitely tell I don't like the lower light at all. No, sir. Let me see something here. I got another light over here. Let's see if it's plugged in. Let me see. Hang on a second, you guys. We're going to see if this light is plugged in. Hang on. There, I got a little bit more light. I can see. There. How about that? Let me know if it's got a glare to it. All right, vine. I know that is a stencil for sure. And I'm pretty sure the signpost is a die cut. Took my sister to her therapy. Made it to chapter 3 in my story. We're up to the point where the heroine meets the hero of the story. He is a prosecutor. The story is about I'll tell you more about the story when we come back. Alright, both of the things we're going to use are die cuts. I found a vine die cut, and the signpost is a die cut. So we're going to be doing die cuts again today. Who says I don't use my die cuts? I didn't clean this up after the last time I used it. Now tomorrow, video will be a little bit later in the day. Just saying. Wonder if I should go get some flowers. Nah, I'm just gonna do them in green. Well, back to my story. So I've decided I'm going to make this about this young girl. She's the older sister of a wealthy family, but the family, of course, is corrupt. At least the mother and father are corrupt. The grandparents are not, because the grandparents are very helpful to the girl, but there's an older sister and a younger sister, and the story's about the older sister. The younger sister is always getting sick, so they use the older sister as, like, if they needed blood transfusion or something for the younger sister, the older sister has to provide it against her will. You know, they force the older sister to be whatever can help. You know, if they need it, like if she needs a kidney or something, the older sister, and I haven't decided if I'm gonna make that a part of the story. You know, if the younger sister needed bone marrow transplant or whatever, the older sister had to provide it. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go that far in the story, but the parents own this biomed lab, and they are doing human non-sanctioned human testing, human testing on real people, and one of which is the older sister. But anyway, you don't find this out until later in the story. But the story opens with the older sister plotting her escape from the family. She's in her 20s, and she is a numbers savant. Like, numbers are her thing. Anything to do with the number, she likes numbers. So she's done calculated and plotted and planned. But part of the biomed lab is like gene therapy, human gene therapy, and genetic testing. Well, they had a genetic testing to help enhance how smart you are. So the girl's very smart because they've done the genetic testing on the girl, on the older sister. So she's devised a plan to escape from the hotel. So the start of the story is she's set up, conspired with a neighbor in downtown Manhattan. She lives in a penthouse, a high-rise building, but she's conspired with a neighbor to create a diversion so she can escape. So she escapes from the apartment building. You know, she brought a sweater to disguise her appearance and everything. And there's always 2 bodyguards who guard the older girl. And once the diversion happened, they were taken out of the scenario, okay? So they have to go down the hall. The 2 bodyguards have to go down the hall and see what the commotion is. And that's when the older sister makes her escape. So she makes it out of the building and is hurrying towards like a corner, because there's a getaway car waiting for her like a couple blocks down and around a corner somewhere, thanks to the grandparents. Because in about 5 years, she's 20, so when she turns 25, she's going to inherit her grandparents' legal company and be the, you know, the owner, CEO of the legal company. But until then, she has to run and she has to hide and she has to make herself strong so she can bring down her mother and father in the biomed lab, who's doing this illegal experimentation on people, real people. And the people they're using are the homeless people. In addition to, you know, the oldest daughter. You know, they wouldn't give any harmful things to the oldest daughter. You know, they would only give her the drugs or use her for things they knew were safe. But it was always against the oldest daughter's will. So anyway, the girl's made it outside the building, and she's calculated she only has like mere minutes to get away from the 2 bodyguards, because they're smart enough. One of them's smart enough, he's going to figure it out, that it was just a diversion. So as she's hurrying to the corner, she hears the commotion behind her and realizes the bodyguards are out of the building now. They know she's gone. So they're chasing after her, even though they don't quite see her. So she noticed like the traffic is stopped at stoplights, and couldn't do this nowadays, but in the story she sees like a Lincoln Town car, and hold on, I got a little issue here, I can't talk and concentrate. So she goes up to the town car. She's thinking she's going to hop inside this town car, so she's praying that the door's going to be unlocked, because you're in New York after all, where car hijackings and all that stuff go on. But she knows also that usually this type of car is only owned by the wealthy, and they usually have bodyguards and this, that, and the other in there. So she hops inside this car, and there's a young man in this car. He's the hero of the story. And he's reading his newspaper, and he looks up in alarm, and About that time, the bodyguards are starting to realize she could possibly be in a car and are starting to search cars, look inside cars. So the girl quickly goes over to the guy in the car and starts kissing him. You know, she pulls his arms around her and she starts kissing him, and of course he kisses her back because, you know, he likes the sensation that he's feeling, like, you know, she's a pretty girl and he likes what's going on. And the girl's thinking, you know, anybody looking in might think that they're just like a couple getting their last kisses in before they go off to work. So Bruno and James are the two bodyguards. You know, just skip right on past the car because they look in, see the couple kissing. You know, she's done put her hair up in a bun and she's wearing a sweater. She's done disguised herself in the few minutes that she had to escape. So the traffic light changes and they make it down the block, several blocks. And the couple stop kissing and she moves to get out of the door and the guy says, "Stop, don't go." And she says, "I've got to go, otherwise you'll be in danger." And he says, "Well, wait, what's your name?" And before she goes, she tells him, remember the name Paige. So he doesn't know whether the girl's name, you know, is that her first name? Is that her last name? You know, what do you mean Paige? What do you mean remember the name Paige? So, and that's the last he sees of her. So then we fast forward to about 4.5 years later. And man's looking in the newspaper. And he sees where a homeless man has died and that his kidneys were missing. He died from renal failure because his kidneys had been removed. So the guy in the car was a young assistant DEA back when the heroin met him. But by now he is the like the district attorney. And he sees the article in the paper and he vaguely wonders, like, you know, because he was assigned way back when the girl got in the car, he was assigned to investigate all these murders of the homeless people. But then once he met the girl, everything stopped. But he doesn't connect the two together there. He doesn't know that the girl's connected to, you know, the homeless people deaths. It's just, you know, just a coincidence that they stopped when he met her. But, you know, he thinks about the girl. He thinks about, like, in thinking about the case, you know, he's thinking, oh no, is this starting up again? You know, why now after 4.5 years when the case went cold? What's going on? When in reality, they're trying to spook Paige, we'll call her Paige, out of hiding because she is set to inherit the grandparents' company in a couple months, in about 6 months. So, the main biomedical lab of the parents are trying to spook her out, get her to come out into the open so they can capture her again, so they can take over the grandparents' company, because that would be a big boost to their biomedical lab. You know, if they can get this legitimate company. You know, they're just connivous, or, you know, scheming and conniving. So they're trying to get her. So he's in his office and he tells his assistant to get the car ready because they have to go speak to the coroner just to get a little bit more information to see, you know, if there were any other clues. You know, confirm that yes, it's the same MO as, you know, 4.5 years ago, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I'm doing this off camera. So they get in the car and they're going to go to the coroner, and meanwhile, Paige has picked up the newspaper and is standing on a street corner waiting for the light to change so she can cross the street. And rather than start at the front of the paper, she starts at the back of the paper, and she's scanning the headlines and things on the back page, and she sees, you know, several articles, and, you know, the light changes, and she's getting pushed along with the crowd of people crossing the street. She's getting pushed along with them into the street when she all of a sudden sees the article about this homeless person who's been killed and his kidneys have been removed, you know, and that shocks her to where she slows down and stops in the middle of the road, you know, and she's thinking, oh no, what are they doing? Has this started? You know, and next thing you know, she hears honking horns, car horns honking, and she glances up to see that the lights changed green and she's still in the middle of the road. So she realizes, well, we're in Manhattan and traffic doesn't stop for nobody. They'll either go around or they'll run you over. So she tries to hurriedly run to the other side of the street, and she's almost to the sidewalk when this courier on a bicycle zooms right in front of her, between her and the curb, clips her on the shoulder, causing her to lose her balance and fall backwards into the road. And causes her to fall down even. But as she falls, and she's falling into the road, into oncoming traffic, a car, a black Lincoln Town car, which is carrying the prosecutor, the hero of the story, ends up slamming on their brakes and stops before it hits her. But as she falls, her head hits the bumper of the car, of their car. So they're the hero or the driver gets out of the car, notices the girl, Paige, on the ground, notices that there's blood seeping onto the ground because she did cut her head when she hit the bumper. So they end up taking her to the hospital rather than wait on an ambulance in Manhattan, which is, you know, would have taken longer than just to take her themselves. They load her into the car and take her to the hospital, and that's where I've stopped so far. But I'm going to make her, at this point, she's got a concussion, she's had stitches, she has no one at home to take care of her because she has changed her identity. So her parents couldn't find her, but she's still in Manhattan, and she runs her own company, legitimate company. Which was like a subsidiary of the grandparents' company. But she's going to have a concussion, but she has nobody at home to watch her, so I'm going to have her go live with the hero for a couple of days. And I'm debating about whether I want her to have amnesia or not. Let me know, should I make her have amnesia? But that's my story so far. But part of her backstory is going to be in these 5 years, she has taken up self-defense classes so she can defend herself. And she's probably taken up a couple other interests, you know, that's going to help her defeat her parents. You know, like she's a top-notch, you know, she's a top-notch math genius, you know. I've got to build her up. You know, she's become acquainted with some high-ranking, you know, public people. And while I was sitting at my sister's therapy, this lady says, "What are you doing over there? You writing the nation's next greatest novel?" I said, "Yes, I am." It just struck me as funny, like, how did that old lady know? She says, "Good. Glad to hear it." I think after I get this set out, I think we're good on the vines. But yesterday I planted radishes, lettuce, cabbage, some onions, bell peppers. I got some cucumbers. And tomatoes. Oh, and pepperoncinis. And I bought 2 bags of dirt, was just enough, because I got 5 shelves out there. It's like a raised garden. I broke the leaf. Ouch. Ouch. I tore the leaf. I didn't break it, I tore it. There. Alright, now let's get these pieces out of there. Oh, we still got to do the stupid signpost. I thought we were done. All right, we're done with the vines anyway. Now we're going to do the signpost. I'll make a couple of these. How cute is that? I wonder if I could do another one. No. Let me take this out. And then you have all these little arrows and things. How cute is that? All right, let's put this over here. We're going to do a couple of these. Oh, wait. Silly girl. I'm going to have to get me a little marker to write, you know, like east, west, town, uptown, north, south. Okay. Come on. Now let's see. Nope, it didn't go through. So that was kind of senseless to do two. We're going to have to do them one at a time. Let's see. I can put it back over it. Yep. I'm not sure how many of these we're going to put on our page. But I can make at least 2 more. Maybe 3. All right, let's do, I wonder if I could do 2 more. Let's see. Let's off-center it. All right, let's see if we can get 1 more. I don't think so, unless I put it like that. Let's do it like that and see if I can get 1 more. Okay. I think we're done with the die cut machine, she says, a half an hour later. Okay. Get all the frilly dillies out of here. Okay. Now, let me get our paper. Sorry, you guys. I bumped you. I bumped you. All right. What did I do with those notebooks? What did I do with them? Oh, there they are. I wanted to put like some of these. I wonder. Let's do this way. Let me find a pen, an ink pen, a fine tip pen. We are going to get, I was thinking I was going to pull like these, different color. All right, let's see. We're gonna go Hobbit. Town. We'll go east. I don't even know where half of these fit in here. West. Country. There. All right. We'll figure out where those go in a minute. We're going to glue our papers on now. I'll try and make these as even as possible. I might have to put our prompts on the back. I'm not sure I want to cover up our pictures. Okay, next we're going to put this right here in the middle. We'll see if we can get this on here. Get some glue on it anyway. We're going to put this like this. And then, I don't like this really thin paper. I don't like it at all. Let's see if we can figure out where these come out of. Okay. I think that one come out of there. Will that one come out of there? No. Will it come out of there? Yes. Skip that one for a minute. We'll put that one right there. Maybe. Oh, it fell right in there. Now I can't get back out. Hang on. Alright, west. That one goes there. It goes there. Does it go there? I think that one goes there. Alright, that one's on the wrong side. Town. I think this one goes right there. So that one's on the wrong side. That one goes there. Yeah, I think that one goes there. That one goes there. have these little arrow things. I think that one goes there. I think I need to get my tweezers out. That goes there. This one goes there. Okay. How am I gonna fix this? We're gonna make them go in there. That's what we're gonna do. I don't care if they fit in there or not. I'm gonna make them go. We'll put this one right there. Yep, I'm gonna make them fit. There. Next. We are gonna put some of these vines on. Should I do 2 of them? Like this? I think I'm gonna do 2 of them. Yep. Okay. This one might be a little easier to do than that signpost, I'm thinking. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay. I guess I didn't need them other pieces unless I put one across the top and the bottom. I might do that. We'll see. We will see. Come here, little vine. Now, let me see. I have, should we do this? Across the top and the bottom. Let's do it, you guys. Let's do it. Let's put this on the bottom. Scrunch it down so the glue can stick to the page. And then we'll put one across the top. All right, let's put this one this way. Since the other one's facing the other direction, I'm gonna put this one this way. Okay, then our next question is, do we put this right here? I'm thinking I'm gonna put it on the back. There we have our signpost with our vines. So let me take my picture and then we will move on to our small page. Back in a few seconds. All right, let's find a would you rather question. I noticed there was the very next page, 2 pages, we hadn't picked any questions. Here, I was looking at this big long one right off the bat. It says, would you rather marry someone who has a good career and is kind to you, that will take care of you, but you don't find them physically attractive, or marry someone who you believe is your soulmate, but always struggle financially? That's the one I would pick. Find the one that is my soulmate and struggle financially, because that's what we are doing. I found my soulmate and we struggle. Every day is a struggle financially. So would you rather marry the one who has the good career, all the money, and is good to you, but you don't like physically? Or marry the one who is your soulmate? Give me the soulmate. All right, let us do some numbers. Find us some numbers. Where's the phone? I'm going to turn my fan back on. Okay. Spin that wheel. 160. 160. 103. 'Already did that one. 196. 73. 184. 158. All right, let me go find these things. And we'll see what we're going to make today. We'll see if they go together. Probably not. Okay, we're going to make these work. We have sunflowers. The pinup girls. We have little pieces of lace. We have, looks like some document type stickers. And then we have these hotel sticker type things. I'll put this on here. Let's take a couple of these, shall we? Let's just take that one. This is one of those that one of the empty pouches, because I recognize these are from a sticker book. In a world full of roses, be a sunflower. Let's see here. Let's use this glue. I think I'll stick with that girl right there. All right, let me find our date. Also need to find some of those things to put it in our book. Okay, the 30th. Where do we want to put our date? How about right there? I think we got to trim some edges now. It's sticking to me. It's sticking to me. Okay. 29th. I'm thinking about putting the cloth stuff on here. Okay. There you go. There is our small sticker page for the day. And that's going to do it for this video for the day. Remember, tomorrow video will be coming out later, more than likely. So, that's going to do it. As always, be safe. Don't let the world change your smile. Let your smile change the world. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye.